Hey guys, Wayne Fillmore. So I was reading an article about a couple minutes ago, and I have read some of the most heartbreaking news I've probably read in probably a couple weeks because stuff like this is getting uncommon, or is getting so common, it's getting so usual where you can just look on the news or look in the newspaper, you look somewhere, and people are just dying left and right. So I was reading this article, guys. I'm gonna show it to you. There was a young lady who was at a gas station, and this is her right here. I don't know if you guys can see her. Here she is, right here. She is at a gas station. She pulled over to get some gas, and she bought a soda. And as she comes out her car, there was at least like 6 or 7 people waiting right next to her car, waiting for her to come back to her car so they could rob her, so they could get the keys from her. They beat her to a bloody pulp, and then they shot her 12 times. I'm going to see if I can try and play the video for you guys. If you guys can see it, it says it's loading. But stuff like this is becoming so commonplace. People are becoming nonchalant to it as if, oh, well, it's not my family member. It's not my family member. It's not my cousin or my aunt or my uncle. So therefore, it doesn't matter. So if you look right here, you can actually see some of the moments that led up to the event. There's a car right there. She's waiting. She's about to get into her car.
Her vehicle, and she'll go inside and be inside the Chevron for just a couple of minutes. That's Miss McCurdy. I'm gonna let this play a little bit. I want you to see how these gentlemen are circling around her. Clearly, when she pulled in, she became a target for them. They kind of bracket each side of the car. The gentleman in the red hooded sweatshirt and the red pants is going to be our murder suspect. He is the shooter. But can you speed it up a little bit? Thanks. No, back it up. Okay, just let it play. Miss McCurdy's exiting this door now. Very shortly, you'll see a confrontation between Miss McCurdy and the suspect in the red. He says something to her. Don't know really what it is. We stopped it there because at that point, she was shot. She did struggle with the suspect,
And just like that, she went into the gas station. She comes out, get into her car. Bam! They shot her just like that. Just like that. And I want to bring something to everybody's attention too. And I don't care how people feel about this, what people say. I really could care less. But 9 times out of 10, I mean, when you see somebody in a hoodie and they happen to be young and they're in groups, 9 times out of 10, they're about to rob you or do something crazy to you. And I know because the same thing happened to me about 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. I was walking up the street, going to get something to eat from the store. It wasn't my neighborhood. It was probably about 4 or 5 blocks up away from my neighborhood. I'm going up the street to get something to from the store. Uh, some 2 guys in hoodies are behind me, and another group of guys are in front of me. They came out of an alleyway, so there was an alleyway in front of me right here, and then in the back of me, these guys, I guess they must have been waiting for their next victim to come walking up the street. So they were on this side of the corner. So they came from around the corner, and as I'm walking up the street, there was an alleyway that like at least like 4 people came out of there. And one of the guys who were in back of me, they all had on hoodies by the way. One of them sucker punches me. I fall on the ground, and they start stomping me. I get up, I start struggling with one of the guys, and after that, I just started running because there was too many of them. If I would have fought them, I would have died. You know. Um, Thank God that I didn't get shot. It's so commonplace for these punks to go and shoot somebody. There is no such thing as a fair fight nowadays. Even when I was scuffling with those guys and tussling with them, um, it had to be at least like 7 of them. It was at least 7 of them. There was at least like 4 of them coming out the alleyway and two of them behind me. So there's 7 guys on one guy. I'm not a really big guy too. And the thing that probably saved me was it was the winter time and I had a big winter jacket protecting me. I didn't have any bruises or marks on my face or anything. I wasn't marked up or anything on my chest or my body. But thank God I got out of that safe. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have ran. Well, you would have died. You would have died, and God forbid you would have started fighting them, and one of them would have pulled out a gun. That would have been all she wrote. You would have been dead. It's so commonplace for uh, young black men to go out and rob somebody. I'm black and I don't like being around groups of young black men. If they're young and black and they're teenagers and they got tattoos and stuff on their face and they look like they're going to rob you, they're probably going to rob you. It's not racist. It's not racist for you to think that way. It's not racist for you to say it. I know a lot of people will send you to hell for saying it if you were white, but it's true. Nobody wants to be around these little brat. These little Negroes are going out robbing people and killing people at a gas station. Honestly, I don't know if they were trying to rob her for her money or for her car or whatever. But you guys saw the video. They they uh they basically targeted her out. She was just minding her business, going to the store, doing what she needed to do, and these little jackasses went and stuck her up for a car or for whatever and killed her. Shot her 12 times. So there certainly is a problem in the black community. I know this for a fact. There certainly is a problem in the black community with teenagers murdering people. It's not the adults that are going around murdering people. It is the kids, the teenagers. 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds murdering people like it's nobody's business. And they have no conscience about it. And you probably noticed this, but they always hang around in packs. They always hang around in groups because they're punks. They would have never done that on their own. If the guy was by himself, he probably would have never done that. If it was me and one of those guys 1-on-one, and that little scuffle that happened between me and those other guys 4 years ago, they would have probably never even done that. But because they were in a pack, because they were in a group, they feel they feel like nobody can do anything to them or whatever because they're punks. What I advise you guys to do, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're a Christian. You're not supposed to tell people to do anything violent." Look, Jesus gave his disciples swords. Peter chopped a man's ear off. So if you got to do what you got to do so you can survive, I'm pretty sure God will not be upset with you for protecting your family. It's a verse in the Bible that says that if a man breaks into your house and you happen to kill him, so be it. Um, what I advise you guys to do is go out and if you're 18 years or older, depending on the laws in your state, get a gun license, get a permit, and a gun license, and get a gun with some bullets, and do what you have to do to protect yourself because these people are crazy, and most likely it's the kids. Heard the warning signs. If there's a group of kids who look suspicious and they're eyeing you and they've been looking at you for a minute or whatever, or they're circling you, 9 times out of 10, you're about to get robbed. I had a buddy who got robbed 2 weeks ago. It's been 2 weeks since my buddy got robbed right here in Philly. He was coming out of his house, and it was about 7 o'clock in the morning. He was on his way to work, and a guy asks him, "Do you know what time it is?" Now, me, I already know when somebody says that, you keep walking, you don't answer them, you just keep on going about your day. And if you do answer and you say what time it is, you want to make sure you are like right here, and they're all the way over there, and you just say, "Oh, it's so and so o'clock," and keep walking. He was coming out of his house. Some guy asks, "Do you know what time it is?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes to look at his phone, looks back up. Guy pulls out a gun, and just like that, he's like, "Give me everything you got." Thank God, nothing happened to him. Thank God he didn't get shot. But I can guarantee you, the person who robbed him was somebody who was younger than him, because me and my friends were in our 20s, but the people going around doing all these horrible things are teenagers. It's teenagers murdering teenagers and murdering adults, and they think it's tough. They think it's cool to go out and murder somebody. But somebody breaks in their door, shoot their family up, chop their nuts off. Well, it's a tragedy, right? Right? So, whoever's watching this, I would advise you to go out, get a gun permit, get a gun license, get a gun, do what you got to do. I know. We are Christians, but at the same time, Christians ain't supposed to be weak. We ain't supposed to be sitting here willfully getting persecuted just for the heck of it. I'm pretty sure that God does not want you and your family to be a victim. We're supposed to be victors. We're supposed to overcome stuff like this, and stuff like this just doesn't make any sense. So why is this stuff happening? Why do I think this stuff is happening? Why do I think teenagers are going around doing the most murder, especially black teenagers? Black people don't make up a large percentage of America, but we make up for about, I think, 80% of the crime, and that crime is just black on black crime alone. And yet we got a lot of people out here saying Black Lives Matters and blah blah blah, and they want to go down to the Million Man March, and they want to go and protest some Caucasian Ashkenazi Jews for stuff that honestly, really, we have so many opportunities here in America. I really don't know why you would need to go and protest anything to Washington when we now is a time where black people can own businesses. We can have good paying jobs. We can do what we need to do to provide for our families financially. If you aren't making the money you want to make, that is completely your problem, your fault, and it's too bad on you. You can't blame anybody for the money that you're not making, especially if you've been in this world for the last 20, 30, 40 years and you have done nothing with your life. That is not anybody's problem. The world does not owe you a thing. And just because you are black, that doesn't mean that somebody owes you anything. Just because you're black, it doesn't mean anybody owes you anything as much as somebody owes a white man or a Mexican man or a Jewish man or a Muslim man. Everybody, what's the word I'm trying to say? Everybody has an obligation to pursue their business, career, or venture, and if you don't do it, that's on you. We got our people out there marching down in Washington for the Million Man March saying justice or else. They're saying justice or else to the people who have tanks, missiles. They can hack into your computer and see where you're at any time throughout the day. And we have our people over there saying justice or else. Justice or else what? What are you going? What? Oh, we're going to boycott Black Friday. What? And what justice are you guys talking about? That's what I want to know. What justice are you guys talking about? Justice or else? Sound like a bunch of jackasses to me. You guys can go down to Washington D.C. and have a million of you guys protesting against white people in the name of black racism. But then when a black person goes and murders a girl after she comes out of a gas station from getting a freaking soda, you guys can't say anything about that. Really, really? Now I'm black, and I 100% support my people. But when it comes to stuff like uh, black people being racist towards white people, because that stuff does exist. We think racism only works one way, but there are some racist black people. We've all been conditioned to be racist towards each other, not even knowing that the real enemy, the real battlefield isn't even physical. It's a spiritual war. The Bible says that our enemy doesn't have flesh or bones or blood. Our enemies are the principalities of darkness. With that being said, I find it really funny. Number one, how black people can go out and say Black Lives Matter, and after they say Black Lives Matter, they'll go out and get an abortion. They'll go out and say Black Lives Matters, but then they'll go and abort their babies. They'll say Black Lives Matters downtown in the Caucasian communities, and when they go back to their little neighborhood, back in their hut or whatever they go to in the ghetto or whatever, I know people here in Philly, people from North Philly will come all the way down to Center City downtown to protest to the working class people down there that Black Lives Matter so much, whatever, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But then you got to come back to the same neighborhood where the black people who you just protested for, the black people who you just held hands with, and the black people whose sons and daughters you just spoke up for, those are the same people you got to worry about robbing and murdering and killing you. So there is some real hypocrisy in the black community that nobody wants to talk about at all. And everybody makes it seem like if you say something against black people and you're black, you're a coon and you're a bigot and you're a racist against your own people. No, I mean, I love black people 100%. The situations that we're in isn't completely solely on us. And it's not on white people either. We've been pointing the finger at white people the whole time, and white people have been pointing the finger at black people the whole time, not even knowing that the people behind all of this are the Ashkenazi Khazar Jews in the government who are high up, who make more money than black and white people combined. Those are the people who are behind the scenes that you don't see. And so the Khazars are making the white people mad at the black people, and then they're making the black people mad at the white people. And we've been having this feud for years and years and years, not even knowing that the real enemies of the world, these people are like locusts, are the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, the what's another one of those weird Jewish families who go and marry each other? Rothschilds, Bilderberg, Rockefellers, people like that. And the whole thing is, once again, is kids are going out murdering people. Teenagers are murdering people. And like nobody has a problem with that. Nobody addresses that in the news. Not just it's not just the fact that they're black. Sure, they all got that in common too. And one of the reasons for that is hip hop. Hip hop is a subculture for fatherless black boys who don't have a daddy, and so they look up to Lil Wayne, they look up to Drake, they look up to Kanye, they look up to Wiz, and they look up to Kendrick Lamar. And because they don't have a father in their lives, they look up to other fatherless young men, and they teach them how to man. They teach them how to be a man. Hip hop teaches you how to dress. It teaches you how to think. It teaches you about how to get your swag up. It teaches you how to get girls. It teaches you how to talk to girls. It teaches you how to treat women. It talks to you about, or it teaches you about how to get money. And these fatherless boys go out and they look at BET, MTV, World Star, and they think that that's how you be a man. You be a man by going out here trapping, which is selling drugs for the people who don't know. You become a man by going out here trapping, selling dope, beating people up, robbing people, murdering people, killing people, and that's how you be a man. You become a man by getting locked up 5 or 6 times, and you go in and out of prison because you keep on committing felonies. That's not being a man. That's called being a jackass. That is called being a jackass. Not to mention that these little boys go out and they get at least like 5 or 6 girls pregnant before they even turn 18. I know the dude Chief Keef. When I was in high school, I had to be about maybe like 18 or 19. No, 17. This was before I even turned 18. I had to be about 17. He was about 16. I remember he had a baby, and he was younger than me. But at the same time, he had a baby, and he was a rapper, and he was making all this money, and like he couldn't provide for his kid. That's not a man. That's a sorry excuse for a jackass. And we got all our black young men, we got all our black boys looking up to these other fatherless black boys, not even knowing that Black people don't run BET. Black people don't run MTV. Neither do white people. White people don't run MTV or BET either. Jewish people do. The leader, the I think the founder or whoever the director of BET now is a Ashkenazi Khazar Jew. Just like I've been telling you guys, the Jewish people, the Khazar people, the the seed of the serpent. Jesus called these people the synagogue of Satan in the book of John. He called the Pharisees the synagogue of Satan. He said, "Your father is the devil." And he also said that the devil was a murderer, or he said he was a murderer from the beginning. He was talking about Cain. These people go back to the Canaanites. These people, they know who they are. I mean, if they're really real with you, they'll tell you who they are. As a matter of fact, let me show you guys a video real quick. Hold on 1 minute. Because you guys don't believe me, but I want you guys to hear it from the mouth of the donkey. You guys just tell me. I don't know if you guys can hear me right now and or hear the video. I don't know. Did you guys hear the video the last time? If you guys did, or if you guys didn't, just put that in the comment box below. Let me see. Here we go. Children are sacrificed at McDonald's, and this Jewish guy goes off at the mouth on radio talking about how they do it and why they do it and how uh, he'll say it a million times and nobody will believe him. And these people, they just don't care anymore. They got no regard for life. They got no regard for you. They don't care no more. It's ridiculous. These people are the enemy of the world. Let me show you guys this. You know how they got the little 5-second ad you gotta go through on YouTube.
I have a guest by the name of Rabbi Avi Finkelstein. He's from the East Coast of the United States who's going to be joining me tonight. Rabbi Avi Finkelstein, as I said, a rabbi on the East Coast of the United States. Are you there with me tonight? Shalom, I am here. There's a lot of rumors and conjecture that's taking place across this country relating to the Jewish population, okay? Okay. The masses have a hard time believing anything. Well, we've done a great brainwashing job on them over the centuries, and especially the last few hundred years. We've just brainwashed them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, in the meantime, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country, and we drain the blood and we mix it with the Passover bread, and then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own, and we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets, and the people, they eat them for breakfast, they eat their children for lunch, and as Jews, we gotta do what we do. It's over for you, white race. So that's why I'm speaking so honestly here, to bring it out into the open so that you can see it for what it is. You've been teaching the people real good, but they don't wake up, do they? Because you know why? They're scared of us Jews, because they don't want to be called anti-Semites, and they believe that we're the chosen people, and so that's why we can do whatever we want to do do when we can get away with it because the white men are cowards. And we go to the synagogue all the time and have some Manischewitz and dance the Hava Nagila. It's not that you Jews are hiding anything. You're coming right out on television, in the newspapers, on the radio, and you're telling the people exactly what you're going to do before you do it, and they're like your brain dead. Well, we did a good job with the public school system. We got you to put all of your children in there. You notice that the Jew doesn't put his children in there. They go to the Hebrew Academy, where we teach them the real things, and then they go to the synagogue and they learn the real important things. But we send your kids to the public school. We even have you tax yourself from your property so that you never own your property. And so if you don't make your property tax, we're going to take your property. You can bet on that. And we have you put your kid in a 12-year babysitting is about all it does because you don't learn anything. And then by that time, the kids, they get to be teenagers, and then we give them the music. Not that we really want to call it music because, oy vey, that's not music. But they listen to that, and then they want to do what they want to do, and so we sell them drugs, and we make a lot of money off your children. Your children from cradle to grave. All we do is make money off of them. Your cattle, your goyim, the human cattle. Mazel tov. Well, that's very interesting.
So I don't know if you guys just heard that or not. From the mouth of the donkey or the cow, however the saying goes. You heard it from Rabbi Abe Finkelstein. He just admitted on national television that it is the Jews who are behind the corruption of our kids. They kidnap our kids during Halloween. They sacrifice our kids. And I didn't even get to the part, but this whole interview was basically talking about how they sacrifice kids in their synagogue, in their basements, and they sell their body parts, like their meat, to McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell. It's crazy. And he just said in the beginning that even if they just came out and told everybody about this. He said in the beginning, he said nobody would believe us anyway. No, you wouldn't believe us anyway because you're goyim, you're cattle, you're stupid, you're sheep. From the mouth of the Jewish guy himself, he said it, and that wasn't me. That was him. That was Rabbi A. Finkelstein. And then he said, we go and we corrupt your kids and we send them to public school and we give them this crazy music where they listen to the music and the music makes them want to live how they want to live. They want to do what the artists do. And then we go and we sell your kids drugs and then we make money off your kids. You heard it from himself. Maybe I should play that again because it just seemed like it's not resonating with certain people. And I already know certain people are going to say, oh, he didn't say that. Let's just play that back. Let's just play that again.
On the radio, and you're telling the people exactly what you're going to do before you do it, and they're like they're brain dead. Well, we did a good job with the public school system. We got you to put all of your children in there. You notice that the Jew doesn't put his children in there. They go to the Hebrew Academy, where we teach them the real things, and then they go to the synagogue and they learn the real important things. But we send your kids to the public school. We even have you tax yourself from your property so that you never own your property. And so if you don't make your property tax, we're going to take your property. You can bet on that. And we have you put your kid in a 12-year babysitting is about all it does because you don't learn anything. And then by that time, the kids, they get to be teenagers, and then we give them the music. Not that we really want to call it music because, oy vey, that's not music. But they listen to that, and then they want to do what they want to do, and so we sell them drugs. And
you have heard it from Rabbi Finkelstein himself. And isn't it funny how for years and years and years we'd be going to public school, and one of the things I would ask my teachers, when am I ever going to learn this? Like, when am I ever going to use this in life? Like, what we're learning, when am I ever going to use this in life? I'm never going to use any of this. and they just say, oh, this is just the curriculum that's given to us by the state, and we need to teach it to you guys because that's what they just told us to teach you guys. And that's it. And just like that, the teacher is basically saying, you're stupid, I'm smart, you just listen to me because I know better than you, and I know that if the state says it's true, it must be true. You just heard from the guy's mouth. They purposely have us send our kids to these 12-year babysitting programs. They get out, they don't know anything, and then they give music. The music makes them want to do evil, horrible things. And just like I said, sorry about that, hip hop. Because there's a big difference between rap and hip hop. You can have Christian rap, but you cannot have Christian hip hop. Hip hop originated from the Zulu Nation, and from the Zulu Nation, basically they made hip hop. They brought it over from the Zulu Nation over to the Americas, and basically that's how hip hop originated. You guys can go and you can look that up yourself. I know KRS-One. You can look up his videos and he'll tell you, yeah, hip hop is a spirit that we met. Hip hop, we were channeling different spirits, and this spirit called hip hop came and it manifested itself, and it told us what we needed to do and how we needed to do it, and it gave us these dope beats, and we brought it back to America. Hip hop is a spirit, and I truly believe that it's the spirit of fatherlessness. And a lot of times when you tell people certain things are a spirit or that's a demon or stuff like that, it's so embedded into us that when we first think about a spirit or a demon or something spiritual like that, we automatically go back into our mind and we think about maybe a movie we seen or maybe a comic book we seen, and we try to resonate with something we seen like that. So when somebody says something like a demon or a ghost or spirit, right? It's to a point where nowadays we speak about these things in a, what's the word I'm looking for? It was on the tip of my tongue. Metaphorical type of way. It's so metaphorical. I'm not really talking about a demon. I'm just metaphorically calling her a demon because her attitude is bad, right? That's how we talk about things like that. And now that's how we talk about spiritual things. We talk about spiritual things metaphorically. When somebody talks about God, they just say God as like a phrase or a phrase. When somebody says, "Oh my God," they don't really mean God. They just mean God in the metaphorical phrase way. And so when you think about our kids while they're going out murdering people and shooting people 12 times and sticking up people early in the morning before they're going to work, or robbing people on their way to the store, right? The reason why they're probably going around doing all of this stuff is because they don't have a conscience, because nobody, one, has ever told them about God, about there being a creator. Because if there is a creator and you know there's a creator, and somebody's telling you about this creator, and they're telling you he's not metaphorical, he's not a saying or a phrase, he's not this mystical being that's out in the wind that we don't know about. When somebody tells you that there is a real creator, there is a real being who knows your every thought, who knows your every evil deed that you've done in private, that you've ever done in open, there's a book on your life being recorded, and everything you ever say, do, or think is recorded in this book. And one day you will be judged for everything you ever thought, said, did, looked at, heard. Everything will be judged. The books will be open when you die, and you have to give an account for every idle word that came out of your mouth before this creator of the universe. When you tell somebody that, especially when you tell somebody that at a young age, it sticks to them forever. Which isn't a bad thing. Which is not a bad thing. Atheists will have you think that our kids shouldn't be taught about a creator, that our kids shouldn't be taught that if they do horrible things here on this earth, they'll be judged for it on the day of judgment. But it's actually worse if people think that there are no consequences for their actions. What's stopping them from doing anything? Nothing. The Bible says in Romans 1:20 that people suppress the truth so they can live in unrighteousness. Because if you don't think there's a creator, if you don't think there's a heaven or hell, if you don't believe there's a God who's going to judge you for everything you ever done, why not go out and murder people? the Jewish guy just told you that our public school system is a babysitting system for 12 years. And so we send our kids to these babysitting systems, and they learn nothing about anything that matters. And what's one of the biggest things in the world that matters? Is there God? And if there is a God, how can you be made right with God? And number three, if there is a heaven or a hell, are you going to heaven? Those are probably like the three most important things we ought to know before leaving this earth. Even while basically, I'm gonna say those are some things that we should probably know before our brain becomes fully matured and developed. But we send our kids to the public school system, and they learn evolution. They learn about millions of years. They learn about how everything created itself out of nothing. And at one point in time, nothing was something. And they came from a chemical soup, and the chemical soup turned into some fish, and the fish turned into a fish with legs, and then the fish turned into a lizard, and then the lizard over millions of years turned into an ape, and then the ape over millions of years turned into you and me. And that's so disrespectful because a couple 400 years ago, black people were called monkeys because we had brown skin, and so people said we are less evolved. The theory of evolution was used for racism. But we teach our kids these horrible, evil things. We teach them that they're animals. We teach them that there is no God, there is no creator, that everything you do in this life doesn't matter. And then we wonder why they're going out murdering people. The Bible says that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, or the beginning of knowledge. And we don't teach our kids the fear of God. And so they don't fear God. And also they don't fear their fathers. This all goes back to fatherlessness. You know, last night I was looking at a book called The Faith of the Fatherless. And the book was, from the title, you would think it'd be talking about Christians, but it wasn't. It was talking about atheists. Karl Marx, Sigmund Freud, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin. Not only were they all atheists, but they all were fatherless, and they all had a disdain for their father. They hated their fathers. Isn't it funny that these atheists who hated their fathers, they also hated their heavenly father. They hated their earthly father here on earth, and they hated their heavenly father. These kids, these black teenagers who are going around robbing people, they're fatherless. And their spirit of fatherlessness resonates in them, and they connect with another fatherless, hurt boy they see on TV. Taylor, I'll get to you in a minute, mate. They resonate with a fatherless boy that they see on TV, and basically two fatherless. It's like, remember what I said about molested people in the broadcast before. Two molested people, they'll always find each other. Two hurt molested people, because it's that spirit. See, when you talk about the things that happen in the spiritual world works in frequencies. And frequencies, not just talking about sound, but you guys, frequency waves and stuff like that, and gamma rays and microwaves and stuff like that. The spiritual realm works with frequencies, and so one person's frequencies can resonate with another person's frequency, and when those frequencies meet, I could have never known you before, right? I could have never known you before that. I could have never, what am I trying to say? I could have never met you before. I could have never talked to you before. I could have never had a conversation with you before. But just because my frequency and your frequency are the same, because we both were molested, our frequencies resonate and we find each other. And that's really how, like, for example, if you guys don't think that's true, why do you think evil people hang around evil people? And why do you think they all hang around the same evil behind spots? These kids, right, who are going around robbing people, they all look very dark. They all got hoodies on. They all look like they don't have like a chance for life. They all look sad and depressed as crap. They all hang around bad, terrible neighborhoods, and they all hang around other bad, horrible people because they all got that same frequency of evil. Just like molested people hang around molested people. What else? actors hang around other actors because that frequency just resonates. You guys are looking at my channel right now because you guys, me and you, we have the same frequencies, and your frequencies resonate with my frequency, and our frequencies are in agreement. And so, let me see. What's your opinion on? Somebody asked me, "What's your opinion on gay trans children?" I'm a FTM myself. What is a FTM? I've never heard of that. So if you could be a little more specific. So what's my opinion on gay and transgender children? Well, I talked about this a little before in the last broadcast, but first of all, number one, I think that God loves straight children. He loves children who identify as being gay, children who identify as being transgender. God loves everybody. He just doesn't love everything we do. There are some really evil, twisted things that we do that God completely disagrees with. God is not in agreement with it. And if somebody tells you that, there's nothing that we can do uh, to make God not upset with us, because God will still love you, he'll just be upset. But I think one, God does love you. All right, if you're gay, transgender, I don't care what anybody says. Somebody could say otherwise. God loves you, but He doesn't agree with everything that we do. For example, God doesn't agree with people who masturbate. It's a evil, horrible sin that people do out of selfishness because they feel neglected, because they feel unloved. Some people do it. I know guys who joke about it and they talk about it all the time, but they do it because they can't go out and get a woman, and so they come home and they just imagine a woman or whatever that they seen earlier today. You guys know, like, you guys don't know what you do. You guys know what you do, and because they couldn't go out and talk to that person they wanted to talk to, they'll think conjure up thoughts about that person they wanted to talk to and masturbate about them. And that is completely sick and wicked. It's like right now, if somebody saw me right now and they saw, Wayne is so hot, whatever, and they go home and they start masturbating about me, that's weird and creepy. That is some weird, creepy stuff. But female to male transgender. Well, number one, this is what I've come to realize with a lot of people who do identify as being gay or transgender. Um, I know with a lot of people who identify as being gay, they were hurt in the past. A lot of gay people, a lot of homosexuals are hurting, and nobody ever seems to be able to talk about their hurt. Whenever somebody says they're gay, the first thing we do is we say, "Oh, that's great, you came out the closet," stuff like that. That's great that you're fine with who you are. But a lot of times, I've talked to a lot of gay people who don't like being gay. They don't want to be gay. They don't know why they have these feelings in them either. And for example, I think I told you guys one of the guys who man, we were friends. I was friends with a gay guy, and he I don't know how he's doing now. It's been a while since I talked to him, but he was molested as a child, and he was molested by his cousin. And as a matter of fact, you guys should know too. Whenever a child is molested, 9 times out of 10, they're molested by somebody they know, somebody that's in the house, maybe a close family member. He's molested by his cousin, and he said that he became confused after that, and he started liking men. So it wasn't just like he just started liking men right off the bat. Um, Something happened to him that he was suppressing, and he hasn't told a lot of people that any either. He's only told me and I think one other person that, but he's never told anybody else about that. So something happened where he was suppressing the truth that happened to him. The truth was he got molested by his cousin. He wasn't always that way. He got molested by his cousin as a child. And I personally have the belief that children do not have sexuality. Sure, they may have sex organs, but a baby is a baby. A baby is not worrying about getting some cheeks. A baby is not worried about watching some porn or going out and having sex. A baby is a baby. A baby doesn't need a sexuality. A baby may be born with a sex, male or female, but a baby is not concerned about going out and getting some play. It's a baby. Just like how people are saying Bert and Ernie are gay. They're Muppets. They don't have sexuality. They don't even have sex organs. They are puppets. They don't have sexualities. They are puppets. A baby is a baby. Um, but a lot of things happen to a lot of people in their past that they suppress. The Bible says that people suppress the truth in unrighteousness, right? People suppress the truth of the things that happened to them in the past so they can go out and so they can live how they want to live. A lot of times people will trade pain for pleasure. So because something happened to you a while ago, you do this habit or you do whatever you do so you can get rid of those bad thoughts, so you can get away of the way they made you feel a long time ago. Like some people smoke because they're stressed, right? So uh, the pain is they're stressed, right? And so the pleasure is they smoke to get away from that pain. Some people kickbox, right? Which isn't nothing wrong with it. Some people kickbox because they get angry at somebody, right? Because they have a lot of anger in their lives. And so the pain is they have a lot of anger in their lives. The pleasure is they go out and kickbox. Uh, for somebody who happens to be a transgender, I do know this. Uh, a lot of homosexuals, transgenders, and a lot of people who have sexual problems, straight people too, they have a lot of them come from one broken homes. They come from homes where I don't know if this is true about you, but these are just how the statistics go. They come from broken homes, and they don't have a father in their lives, right? Or they have a bad relationship with their father. They don't feel loved by their father. I don't know if that's true for you. I have no idea. But if I'm hitting the nail on the hammer, those are just the statistics. Um, for a lot of people who are transgender too, they're molested too, or or they or they've been hanging around their mother or the opposite sex too long, or they just don't like the opposite sex, you know, for whatever reason. And a lot of times that's pain for pleasure too. Something happened where somebody of the opposite sex, you say you weren't good looking enough, right? You weren't tall enough, you weren't skinny enough, you weren't thick enough, you didn't have uh the biggest breast in the world like the other girls had, or maybe at that point in time in your life, maybe you liked somebody who didn't like you back, and that made you say, maybe I'm not good at being a girl. Maybe I should go on BML. And things like this happen when we're young. See, these things don't happen when we're older. A lot of sexual problems that we have that we are now mature with, they happen in our childhood. Like I said with the masturbation thing. Um, some people first masturbate when they're like 13, 14, 15. They don't tell it. And these are things that people don't talk about. People are afraid to talk about stuff like this. I really don't know why. 90, maybe 85% of people deal with these type of things. But usually when people have sexual problems, they come from life issues that happened in the past that they didn't deal with. So for somebody who is a female to male transgender, maybe there's a problem you had in your past that you're suppressing, and so you use the female to male transgender surgery that you had, so you can escape that pain that you had. So you had a pain for pleasure type of thing going on, and the only thing I can say is because only you know what happened. I don't know what happened. If you want to be open with that and shoot that in like a private message, and me, you can just talk. That'd be fine. I don't want you putting your business out here. But maybe there's something that happened to you in your childhood that happened to you that you've been suppressing. And if that's the case, just think about it. Take like a day. Take all night if you have to, and think about some of the most painful experiences that you had. Because out of our pain comes certain habits that we do. We don't know why we do certain habits that we do. Um, there was a there's a story about how there were some sisters, and every Thanksgiving they would make Thanksgiving dinner, whatever, whatever, and they would have this little small pot that they would put the turkey and stuff in, right? So they put the turkey in this little teeny pot, and every year the turkey would come out the same way. And this is just the way that the mom and the family did it. The mom has been doing this for years and years and years and years and years, right? She's been making this turkey in this little itty bitty pot, and so the sisters, right? The kids of the mom who saw her doing this with the pot over and over and over again, they just assumed that that was just one of the things that mama did. Mama used to put the turkey in a small little pot and cook it that way, so we do the same thing. Come to find out, one of the sisters caught the other sister doing it when the mom passed away. One of the sisters asked the other sister, she says, "Why are you putting the turkey in this little itty pot? You should go and get a bigger pot where the turkey actually fits, so you won't have to smush it all down." And the sister said, she said, I'm doing this because this is the way Mama always did it, right? She said, Mama always put the turkey in a little itty bitty pot, so this is the way I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to pass it down to my family, right? And the sister said, don't you know, Mama only put the turkey in that little itty bitty pot because she didn't have enough money to get another pot. So we go and we do certain things. We don't know why we do certain things. We do certain things because we see other people do certain things, or we do certain things because there was something that happened to us long ago. Probably don't even remember. But out of that, they form certain habits, and they form the way we think about certain things from things that happened a long time ago. Um, if for somebody who was a female to male transgender, maybe something happened where somebody of the opposite sex said something to you that you didn't like, or they said something that hurt you, or they did something that hurt you, and maybe you were molested. I know there was a Puerto Rican lady who she's a lady now, but back during this time she was in high school. I remember she used to really really like black men, and she only liked black men. And so me and her were talking, and I'm like, "Why are you so into black men?" And the reason why she was so into black men was because her being Puerto Rican, she got molested by somebody who was Puerto Rican. And I think she said she got molested by her uncle or her cousin. And she said that's why she only likes black men. Now, it's great that she knew that, because some people, they have things like this that happen, and they either don't know why they only like black men, or they would never tell anybody that. But I guess she felt close enough to me to tell me that. But people do a lot of things because they have a lot of pain in their lives that they never dealt with. And so anyway, um so why are kids going out murdering people? Why are kids going out robbing people and doing all types of evil and stuff like that? I believe that our kids are doing these type of things because they're fatherless. They don't have a father in their life. And these fatherless little boys that they see on TV with their pants sagging down, who can't dress to save their lives, are telling them how to be a man when they haven't yet become a man themselves. If you're gonna listen to Ice Cube and Kevin Hart on how to be a man, you are stupid. Kevin Hart cannot be serious to save his life. I truly believe Kevin Hart, something happened in his childhood that he's been running from. Kevin Hart seemed like somebody who's just been running and running and running from something. People who oftentimes can't be serious about certain things. Sorry about that. Dropped the mic. People like that who can't be serious about certain things. Something happened to them eons ago that they've been suppressing. So the Bible says people suppress the truth and unrighteousness. Uh, so what's the truth about you? What's the truth about you that you've been suppressing? What happened to you in your childhood, or 50, 20, 30, 4 or 5 years ago, that's happened to you that you haven't dealt with yet? Maybe you need to go and maybe you need to deal with that. Maybe that's why you are the way you are. A lot of people don't know why they are the way they are, but if they would just go and if they would just stop and think, maybe they would know. I'm just saying. Also, our kids are the way they are. Our kids are monsters because they don't have the fear of God put in them, right? Um, Somebody doesn't tell them that, hey, there's a creator, there's a God who made all of this, there's a God who made the heaven, earth, clouds, and sea, and he is going to judge you for everything you have ever done. There is a book that has a record of everything you have ever said, everything you have ever thought, and everything you have ever did. And on Judgment Day, your book will be opened, and God will judge you for all of it. Here's the good news, though. The good news is God provided a way out 2,000 years ago through his son Jesus Christ on the cross. It's like this. If you're in a courtroom and you have to pay a fine, right? The judge is going to tell you, hey, you need to pay a $50, $40, $60, whatever fine, because you did what you did. You broke the law. Maybe you got a speeding ticket, right? and maybe you park next to a fire hydrant, and so you gotta go to court and you gotta pay the rent. If somebody else came to the courtroom at that exact moment and they said, "Wait a minute, let me pay this guy's fine for him," and they didn't know you from a can of paint, right? Or let's say they didn't know you. Let's say they knew you, but they weren't good. You weren't good to them. You cussed them out at the time. You made fun of them. You called them names, right? You were a douche to them, and they came in and they paid your fine anyway. And then they told you not to pay them back. The judge could legally be able to dismiss your case because somebody else paid your fine in their place. Jesus paid your fine in his place, or Jesus took your place and paid your fine. Every time you ever lied, every time you ever stolen, every time you've ever cursed, every time you ever masturbated, had sex out of marriage, right? Every time you had a sex change, right? Every time you said something to somebody else that really hurt them. Every time you've ever sinned, Jesus paid for all of it. On the cross, Jesus swapped his perfect record with your record. And so now on Judgment Day, when you stand before God, if uh, if if you choose to, if you choose to accept, then on Judgment Day, when God opens up the book of your life, right, and you have to give an account to God for everything you've done, because of Jesus' perfect work on the cross, your book will be empty. All you have to do is do something that the Bible calls repent, turn away from doing all that bad stuff, not because you want to go to heaven, right, but you do those things not to be good, but you do those things because God has been so good to you. You just want to repay him. That's it. You're just so happy that God has been good to you. You want to be good to God. Not because you need to, but because you want to. And that's the difference between uh, Christianity and churchianity, or being religious. A lot of people do good things because they want to go to heaven, not even knowing that when you become a Christian, you don't be good to go to heaven. You be good because you're going to heaven. You're on your way to heaven. Um, so yeah, our kids need a lot of prayer. They need a lot of discipline. They need people to go out and to tell them the gospel, the good news. Um, I truly, honestly believe though that the way this world is going, Jesus said, "Don't cast your pearls before the swine." So there are certain people who you just don't. Some people you don't tell the gospel to because they wouldn't listen. You know, somebody who's about to rob you and murder you. If you feel that you can reach them at that point in time, hey, go for it. Uh, that would be right. And if you want to pull out your gun and defend yourself and not tell these people the gospel, and you just want to go ham and save your life and shoot these people and do what you got to do, that would be right too. Uh, I'm not going to tell you what you should and should do at that moment. That's completely up to what the Holy Spirit is telling you at that time. But there certainly is something wrong with our children. Our children are more sexually active than ever, and maybe the reason why our kids are so sexually active is because they're so hurt. Because this generation is um the biggest generation of all time that's committing the most suicides, and no other generation ever has so many teenagers killed themselves. There's so many people who are dealing with sexual identity problems, right? Some people are dealing with being gay. Some people are dealing with being transgender. Some people are dealing with being bisexual. They're attracted to both sexes. Some people are dealing with I don't know. Some people are dealing with being sexually attracted just to think they ought not to be attracted to. Some people are dealing with just hurt from the opposite sex because they like somebody who doesn't like them back. Somebody's dealing with watching pornography and they can't stop, right? Somebody's dealing with they got molested or somebody got raped, and as a result of all these sexual problems, right, or as a result of all these problems, they either commit suicide or they go into sexual sin. They go into fornication. They go and they have sex with each other because they hurt so bad. Nobody can put a link to these things. Maybe people are doing it. Maybe these children are doing the things they're doing because they feel hurt. Maybe these children are doing the things they're doing because they feel insecure about themselves. They don't like the way they look. They don't like the way, their nose is shaped. Or they don't like the way their hair is, or they don't like the way they dress, or whatever. because TV, BET, MTV, World Star is telling kids how to dress, how to talk, how to think, what kind of job you should have, what kind of car you should drive. Uh, this is how you talk to women. This is how you don't talk to women. Everything kids are learning uh, are all things. Everything kids are learning from BET and World Star MTV are all things that a father is supposed to teach you. And when you take away the father, you have so many problems because a father is supposed to install security. He's supposed to install responsibility, and the father is supposed to teach especially the men, the things that a woman just cannot. Isn't it funny that it's a black young men who are going out here doing most of the murder and killing? Now, with the woman, right? The women are doing just fine because they have a mother in their lives. A woman can teach a woman how to be a woman, but a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. Isn't it funny how most atheists are fatherless? And the people who have fathers in their lives actually believe in God. Because a father is supposed to teach you what your heavenly father is like. He's supposed to be the representative or reflection of your father in heaven. So those are my thoughts on that. Our kids are hurting. Our kids are going through so much pain and suffering. And as a result, they go out and they go into sexual sin. And as a result of poverty or as a result of just these false TV shows telling our kids how to live and how to dress and how to act, as a result of being fatherless, our kids resonate with fatherless frequencies from other fatherless boys, and they learn how to be a man from other little boys who have not yet become men. So those are my thoughts on that. If you guys got any more questions or anything like that, feel free to ask me that now before I close this broadcast. I hope I answered your questions that far. But as far as the female to male transgender thing, somebody asked me. A lot of people do things like that because they're insecure. They don't like the way they look. They don't like their bodies. They don't like their private parts. People do things like that because they hate themselves. If you really did love yourself, you wouldn't have ever done that. You need to love yourself exactly the way God created you. And I know that's hard to do nowadays because we live in a world where people are telling you that you need to look like a model, you need to look like this, you need to look like that. You gotta have a perfect face, you gotta have a perfect hair, you gotta have a perfect leg, you gotta have the perfect bank account, right? Well, God made you exactly, or the way you came out. I'm not gonna say God made you because there are certain things that God didn't make, but the way you came out is exactly how God intended for you to come out. And you need to be happy with that. If somebody doesn't like you because you're bald head or because you don't have enough facial hair or because you're black or because you don't dress a certain type of way or because you don't have a certain amount of money or because you don't live in a big fancy mansion or because you don't drive a nice fancy car, that is on them. So with that being said, be happy with who God created you to be. God created Adam and Eve, male and female, and they were happy. The Bible says they were naked and they were not ashamed. What does that mean? The Bible was telling you that in the beginning, Adam and Eve did not have any insecurities about themselves. Adam and Eve were male and female, walking around butt naked. And Adam wasn't going around saying, I need a penis surgery. Eve wasn't going around saying that I need longer hair, I need to have weave and running and track, I need to have breast implants, I need to have butt implants, I'm too fat. Or Adam wasn't saying, I'm too skinny, I need to work out. The Bible said they were naked and unashamed. You need to be unashamed of who God created you to be. If you're a man and you don't have a nice haircut or you don't dress right or whatever, you need to be just happy the way you are. Because what's going to happen is you're going to keep on going and making all these drastic changes and all these drastic changes, and you're never going to be content and happy. Usually, people who get surgeries, they go back and get another surgery, and they get another surgery after that, and they get another surgery after that. And usually, people who get surgery and stuff like this done, like a lot of times, they were told things about themselves in their childhood. Michael Jackson, he got surgery and stuff done on his face because as a child, people told him that his nose wasn't perfect enough, his face wasn't perfect enough, and those things carry on to him until his adulthood. He lived his entire life not being the person that God created him to be, all because he wanted to conform to somebody else's image of how they wanted him to be. You need to be happy with you. It's only one of you, so you need to be who God created you to be. Adam and Eve were naked and I'm unashamed. You can't be naked, but you definitely can be unashamed of the person that God created you to be. So, with that being said, I love you guys. Take care. If you guys got any questions or concerns, anything like that, you guys can shoot me an email or you guys can message me below or do the comment thing. I don't think you guys have any more questions, but I'm out. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on our kids going around murdering people, robbing people, stuff like that. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.